Welcome to Subject to Change, a sustainability podcast. We're here with Diane Ferguson to learn about healthy building.
Hello.
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 Look at that gorgeous ceiling that you're in. I'm trying to look at what you've got going on there. Oh, cool.
So this is an old Victorian house. When we bought this place, it was full of that shit. And that was one of the first projects, was shoveling all that out. And we made it an apartment, and we lived downstairs and had a young woman with her child as our first tenants. And then we gradually took over. My kids loved jumping. Can you see the loft up there?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. How cool.
They used to, it was my idea. I put in that loft in, and my kids used to enjoy jumping from the loft down onto a pile of pillows and sleeping bags and making the whole house below shake.
Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. When you see the little microphone in the lower right, click on that to learn more. We're so glad you're here. A Town Called Ono.
So Diane, where are you specifically based out of? I'm just curious because I want that context for what you're about to talk about.
I'm in central Pennsylvania in a town called Ono. Well, I live in Ono, but the mailing address is in Annville. So I guess it's Annville, Pennsylvania, but I like the name Ono. But anyway, I am a registered nurse. I was a maternity nurse. I'm a bookworm, and I taught mothers and babies about breastfeeding for many years. And I came across a book by Sandra Steingraber called Having Faith, an ecologist's journey to motherhood.
Diane's home.
And so anyway, I feel like my building this house is kind of a extension of my environmental health teaching, and
Exactly.
Also putting my money where my mouth is in many ways. So
you're using it as a teaching lab on top of that. So
right.
I find that so inspiring, Diane, that you've taken what you've learned and you've said, you've taught and taught and taught. Now you're doing, which is not to say that you haven't done before, but this is a bigger magnitude of doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're still using that doing as a way to connect and support other people in their journey. The fascination of clay plaster.
You were starting to talk about Siggy Coco. So did your endeavor into the built environment start in meeting her?
Yes, it did. My daughter and I went to a clay plastering workshop, and it was fabulous. We were building a garden shed for her mother in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, so it could be very whimsical. And she has building workshops that she advertises on her website. It's www.buildnaturally.com. And she has all kinds of building workshops, but she'll also be your architect, she'll be your consultant, or she'll teach workshops too. Cool. And so we dug up clay from the soil, a hole in the ground, put it in a mason jar with water, shook it up, let it settle. We could see how much clay there was, how much silt there was. From that, we knew how much sand we needed. That in itself was amazing to me. And so
Isn't that cool?
We would sift it out, the roots and the rocks. We got it on a big tarp. We knew we needed this much sand, we needed that much clay, and put a big hole in the middle with the hose and stomped it with our bare feet, and pulled the tarp this way and that. loaded it into a wheelbarrow, and sculpted it over the straw bales inside this gardening shed. And people made dragons, and they made suns, and they made big fish, little fish, because it was a whimsical gardening shed. And I just was so impressed, and it hardens into rock. It's so hard. And so I love Siggy, and I love working with a woman, and I love the touches she gives to her architecture, the warmth. You'll see it in her website.
Please design me a house.
I said to her, Siggy, I want you to be my architect. Please design me a house. And she said, I'd love to, but you need to have some property. Well, that it never occurred to me, silly me. I thought you could just drop a house anywhere. I've had a lot of learning. I'm wasn't thinking about, wow, this driveway is going to be a project. That was almost $10,000 just from itself because it's so long. Then the well, because can't have a driveway, and I can't have a well until I have a driveway that trucks can drive on. Right now, we're on the stage of on the right. We have put the slip coat on the straw bales inside, and today and the past 5 days, I've been pushing that clay plaster into the straw bale walls. It'll get 3 layers all together, and when it's done, it'll look on the left, but you can use any colors you want.
What's awesome about clay is even in using clay paints, you can actually have walls that are healthier and help with your humidity control in buildings. So I would imagine that a straw bale house with layers of clay are really, think about how nature absorbs moisture and releases it in almost every bit of my garden and every bit of the soil. And that's what you're doing. And that's a lesson we have forgotten until recently. Right. Most of us have forgotten until recently.
Let's take a look at the plans.
What great shapes.
So if you go on the bottom of it is a covered porch, and you step into the entryway and you see 2 curvy walls there. Those are cob, and that is a heat sink that is designed into it. Cob is made from clay and straw and sand, and it's concrete sand. It has a lot of rough edges to it, so to help make it strong. So sand gives it compressive strength, and straw gives it tensile strength, and the clay is just a glue. And she has designed these windows on that, just in that entryway, to be sun can shine through it and heat that cob wall in the winter, but in the summertime the sunshine passes by those windows, and you just get the dehumidifying effect of the clay, as Judy mentioned.
That's cool. That's great. So what you're doing is creating a thermal mass with all of that clay and straw and concrete sand. And then when the light is lower in the winter, it's getting to those walls and heating them up. And then that'll radiate heat into the house during the night. But in the summer, the sun is high enough, so it's not putting heat into those walls. And we have a masonry heater, and in the summer, the stone is cooler and it helps keep our house cool. So that's awesome. Very cool. And I love your sun hall. That is something. You're excited about that, right?
I am. It is sacred space as far as I'm concerned. It is. It has a cathedral ceiling kind of thing, 4 big awning windows that I can flip a switch and open because I plan to be there the rest of my life. And as an elderly woman, I don't want to be climbing up a whole lot of stairs to open the windows. So, but it also has a chimney effect, as when I open those windows, all of the warm air will go up and through. And there's going to be a living roof, and on the living roof, first we have the rubber, then 2 grades of different kinds of stone or size stone, and then landscaping cloth, and then several 3 or 4 inches of soil, and then drought resistant roof hardy plants. Tends to be a lot of sedums and succulents. So I'm going to have creeping thyme draping down, and woolly thyme has passed to weed from. So I won't need air conditioning, and
That's
I
awesome.
will hardly need any heat between the cob wall, and I have radiant heat in the floor, in the adobe
Oh,
floor.
beautiful.
So it's adobe floors that will be polished and beautiful and not dirty at all, but they are also made with clay, stone, clay,
That's
sand,
great.
and straw. He is teaching us that you don't just go by a recipe to make your cob or your adobe. You go by what your final product is. So different places have different quality clay, different color clay that absorbs more moisture or might be more brittle. So she teaches us to make test bricks, let them dry, and see what cracks, and adjust your recipe according to that.
That's
Not
great.
just 2 buckets of sand and 2 buckets of clay, and how much straw you can stomp in.
Solid and good planning.
Now, is north up on this plan, or is north to the right?
North is where Diane's bedroom and guest bedroom are.
Okay, all right. That's cool. So you have on the west side, so you can be out on the porch in the evening and see the sunsets.
Well, that's exactly
Yeah.
it. It was designed around the sunsets.
I thought I heard birds in the background.
Do you actually have birds for
That
your
was my
aviary?
question. I was just gonna ask that. Yep.
I have 2 Quaker parrots. This weekend we had a mud party because at the last
Oh, I love it.
at the last clay plastering party we didn't quite finish. 15 people came for free, just out of the goodness of their hearts, to help me finish. And in the
Wow.
aviary, you can sculpt with clay plaster. They made this beautiful sculpture of a tree and leaves with little hollows that my birds can perch in. And we put branches across the top of the aviary so they can fly up and perch on it.
Wow.
Oh gosh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
What makes a home?
That is also bringing the idea of home back to a level that I think a lot of people have been missing for close to a century, right? Just the idea that there's a community that helped you with that. I always think, all right, I'm a total sap, but I always think of It's a Wonderful Life, when they bless the house with salt and wine and bread, and even these very simple homes that were, starter homes in effect, that could be owned by someone because they were able to be purchased. They were blessed by the community, and you have the blessings of the community.
And I say to all these people who come from all over the place,
that's amazing.
You are now my forever friend. You have helped build my home I hear your laughter and your chatter, even when I'm sitting there in the quiet. I remember all you pushing the mud, pushing the straw bales, and you're forever part of my home and my life. And I want you to forever come back and bring people and show them this house that you helped build.
I took a course when I was younger, a course in the International Masonry Institute, and we had people there that architects worked with actual laborers to understand how to lay brick and how to lay concrete block and how to do terrazzo, for example. And I remember there was a gentleman there who'd been working with terrazzo since he was very young. And in the course of his career, the industry changed from natural terrazzo, which is a natural material that can be worked without too many repercussions. There's some caustic elements to cement, but it was a little less of a problem too. The shift went to epoxy terrazzo, and epoxy is tremendously dangerous. And his arms were all marked and scarred from exposure to that material over the course of his career. And he was there showing us how to work with epoxy terrazzo. And it made me absolutely freak out. Like, why are we doing this? Why is this acceptable? How is it that you have come to be a damaged, physically damaged, I would suspect also emotionally damaged human being because of the work you've chosen to do and because of the toxins in that? And you are helping others discover a process that isn't damaging. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
How do we engage contractors in this work?
Are there other contractors that are working on site too, or are you finding people coming and taking these workshops that want to be contractors for this type of home?
A lot of the people who come to the workshops are in the building profession and are interested in branching out in new different ways. I could not find a plasterer for the exterior plaster, which is 96% calcium hydroxide. It's very caustic because it is very alkaline, but it turns into limestone. It's been used for hundreds of years. It's a natural product. And you just mix the lime with water and let it slake or soak up water for several months. So I've been doing that. It's soft like butter now. And I could not find a plasterer locally who would do it. Even though people would drive it on or stucco.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't touch. Oh no, I don't do that. So
it's like people will eat with plastic utensils, but they are petrified and they wash their apple 5 times before they eat it. I mean, I don't understand.
Maybe some of these builders who've been coming would be interested in being trained.
True.
Yeah.
So there are 5 people who come to the previous workshop who I am paying to be plasterers, but I'm paying them a discount fee because they are learning, and Siggy came and trained them.
Nice.
How wonderful.
So she came them and trained them and got them going, and they are plastering the exterior of my house for a lot less than I would normally have to pay, probably.
Recycled glass countertops and mermaid tile.
It's from a company called Ice Stone.
Ice Stone, they're wonderful.
Which is located in Brooklyn, and they're eco-friendly and making a substrate that is non-polluting. And so my kitchen counters are going to be recycled glass, and my bathroom floor is beautiful mermaid tiles. Did you see them? Did you see them, Jody? No. I shared how beautiful they are. They are also recycled glass.
And see, that's the thing, right? A lot of people think of using natural materials as being maybe boring or looking a little gray and dirty, and blow those stereotypes, man. That mermaid tile is entirely beautiful and sharp and amazing. And
All
isn't
right.
that beautiful? Oh my gosh, I love that shape. Oh, beautiful house.
So where is this arrow where I can just tap and go next?
Wow. Wow.
So
Oh, the
this is the
sunsets,
roll
you're
of
right.
my rubber roof. That added $8,800. The rubber and gluing it together.
Oh my goodness.
8,800. I was waiting for the cents to come in.
These are things I wanted for my living roof.
Yeah, got it.
Nice.
Sedums. There is a Amish farm in New Holland where they are growing my sedums for me. And this is the calcium hydroxide.
Got it.
I needed 44 50-pound bags and let it soak for a few months.
Wow. Wow, that's very nice.
This was a mud smearing party with my children and grandchildren and their friends. People making adobe, people sifting the clay, people putting in the adobe floor. You see the radiant
floor
heat.
too.
You see the radiant heat there.
Yep. Nice.
We had to put glass up to on the walls that just had studs for putting the clay plaster on. Our floor cracked, but she taught us a way to fix it with I'm going to put jute on it and put that in. So this is one of the pictures I shared on Facebook of the clay plastering sculpturing workshop where they're putting the clay plaster on the walls.
Wow, and look at your arch ceiling.
Yeah, it's
Very nice.
gonna be a beautiful barrel ceiling. Here's the bathroom floor.
There's the tile. How beautiful.
Yeah.
So these are the
and your
clay this is the exterior plasters. They put on expandable metal glass over the straw bales and to give us easier surface for the plaster, the lime plaster to adhere to. So there's going to be 3 different layers of lime plaster. This is the lime, which is stark white, mixed with the concrete sand, which makes it a tan color.
I can't wait to see the final result.
Yeah, what a great adventure and project, and what a wonderful place to live. And I noticed in the plans that it's a 1,000 square foot home, and most people would consider that to be a very small home, but the spaces are so generous in that home. It's really incredibly well designed.
I was
beautiful.
I was peeping at the layout because I'm like, that's a good little layout you got there.
So Diane, who's your hero?
All right. The first one is we're very inspired by you, and we suspect that you've been inspired by others. If you could share one of your heroes with us, then we can spread that inspiration. Who would that be?
Well, Sandra Steingraber.
Okay.
Sandra Steingraber is an ecologist, and she is an activist. And I met her in Washington, and we were, how can I say, we were nurses marching on the Capitol for climate justice.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
cool.
Amazing. Oh, cool.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yay.
So,
that's
Sandra
beautiful.
Steingraber, besides writing excellent books, has traveled the world. She's a cancer survivor. She's this was
great.
so anyway, so she's somebody I really, really think of as a wonderful mentor and activist, and
That's great.
she inspired me. So,
What should we all focus on?
loving community support.
Oh, you surprised me. I love that.
It resonates so true though. A surprise because we were thinking of toxins,
I know.
and a revelation because you can't actually solve any of the problems of the world without focusing on a loving community.
That's nice.
Excellent.
I don't know. I just feel like the love is coming back. You know?
Yeah. Oh, that's
And you're
Yay.
giving
I'm
me
in-
so much hope because Jody knows that I've been on this endeavor of trying to build something myself, and the cost. So I'm learning that I might just have to wait a little longer than I thought to figure out the right avenue for what I need to build.
And here's a wrap up.
I've enjoyed every single minute of this. Thank you so much for spending your time with us and sharing.
Please come and visit.
Oh, all right. We got to put that on our list, Lauren. We
Got a
really
road
have to
trip.
get out
We
there.
got a road
Okay.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Excellent. All right.
All right.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
good. And
So nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Same here.
Thanks for joining us for Subject to Change.
Thank you.
take care.
Have a great night.
Good luck.
Bye now. You too.
Bye.